Hey guys, Omni here. I just got back from seeing Jordan Peele's Nope, and I will just right out of the gate admit that this is my first Jordan Peele film. Now, I've heard so much about the other ones, and unfortunately, despite having not seen them, I feel like I know the major twists already just because they were so prevalent at the time when these films came out. And I just wasn't able to make it to the theater, man, around those times when those films were just kind of hitting it big, and I just kind of regret kind of that feeling. But having seen this movie, it definitely has that hunger to actually watch those other films of his because I absolutely was swept up in this film and the spectacle of it all. But more so than that, just the adventure, the thrills, the dread that this movie kind of dives into. I know this is propagated as a horror, but I don't know if I would classify it as such. I know Jordan Peele himself has said this is horror and he likes to stick into that pocket, but I don't know. I think this is as much horror as I would classify something like Jaws or Signs or even maybe Tremors, which honestly by the once the film really kind of gets sweeping getting going, it feels a lot like a Steven Spielberg kind of film in a way. And oddly enough, when coming back home after that, before sitting down to record this, I was still thinking about some things from the movie, and I was listening to some interviews and whatever. And apparently, on the list of movies that he gave the cast to kind of do to watch for research was Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Alien, and a few others that I can't remember off the top of my head. But Jaws and Tremors were the two movies that immediately jumped into my brain once this movie kind of kicked up. Visually, this is a beautiful, beautiful movie. The cinematography is sweeping. It is ecstatic. It is just breathtaking at times. And he just knows, with this ranch just out in the middle of nowhere, just how to really encompass this isolated feeling that takes me back to Perfection Valley in a little bit of a way. But the story itself centered around our stars, Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, who are playing a brother and sister who are part of this family that has a place, a foothold in Hollywood history with their horse ranch, and how there's come on hard times, and how Hollywood has kind of moved beyond them, and even going as far as to not even really recognize a lot of that legacy, which is a little bit of a theme here, is like that kind of like the pros and cons of chasing fame, finding fame, and also just how the world will move on and regardless and forget of anybody, no matter how relevant your contributions are. And in a lot of ways, how some people, and this isn't specifically their characters, but some of the themes is like the cycles of relevancy and how people will really try to fight and vie for that. And also kind of a commentary on today where pretty much everything needs to be documented. Pics or didn't happen kind of vibe. There's just some of those undertones. Now you can go into this 100% and just watch this at face value, and you'll have fun with it, man. There's never a dull moment in this movie. There's like one segment that took me a while to finally get my head around. As when I left the theater, I wasn't too sure where it kind of fit into the overarching scheme of things, and I'm sure, like, once you see the movie, if you're going to go out and check it out, which I highly recommend, I'll just go ahead and get that out of the way. I highly recommend going to check this movie out. It's wild. I loved it. But I'm sure once you leave the theater, you'll know exactly what scene I'm thinking of. But after kind of pondering on it, it ended up connecting. But their performances, Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya, they're very polar opposite characters, which kind of like, I don't know, in like a plus or minus kind of way, they kind of energize one another by fulfilling some of the gaps that the other doesn't have necessarily. And it's just brilliant. Keke is charming, funny, witty, and just energetic at all times. And his performances in this is just so subtle. He says so much with just a look or without even opening his mouth at times. And when he does, like, it means something. And their whole dynamic and push and pull through this movie is really the core and the heart of it. And then Steven Yeun, man, kills it. Honestly, a surprise to me was Brandon Pereira's character in this. He got quite a lot of laughs out of me in this. And now, this movie is funny. It does have like a bit of a lighthearted kind of charm to it that kind of accentuates the dread, the horror, the spectacle of it all, and not in a way that like undercuts the tension or anything like that, which we've seen be a little bit of a problem in some movies here lately, but that's not the case here. All the humor in this is natural. It just comes with the cadence of the movie. It comes in and lands on beat with what is happening, and way people would honestly react in some of these situations. And I found it very grounding, honestly. It sunk me into the characters even more and endeared me to them more than I already was. And like I said, Jordan Peele knocked it out of the park for me. This film was beautiful, and there's still a lot of things that I kind of want to reflect on. And it definitely, I know that second trailer, which I don't remember. I think I might have reacted to the first trailer. I honestly don't know. I saw it a bunch of times in theaters, and I never got to react to the final trailer because honestly, I didn't want to, because I was worried about going into this and, you know, knowing a little too much, because the final trailers for a lot of movies will tend to do that. And lo and behold, the next movie I went out to go check out to review played that final trailer. So I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, they're showing all of this in the trailer? What? Why? And yeah, man, if you're on that camp, there's so much more to the movie that is even just held back from that. I thought that spoiled the movie, but no, man, there's so much more that unfurls throughout this adventure. And it's just, man, it's just, I don't even know how to talk about it. It's so hard to talk about this film without really kind of diving into the meat and potatoes of it all. But I loved it, man. I'm definitely going to hunker down and find the time to watch Get Out and Us, because I definitely want to check those out. Even if I know what a lot of people are talking about coming out of those films already, I just want to see them just for the art and to kind of get to know Jordan Peele a little bit more personally than just what I've heard. But I think this kind of lived up to the hype for me, and it was a lot of fun, man. I haven't felt like this coming out of a movie in a long time. Honestly, since I went back to the theaters and they did like a repeat viewing of Jaws, which maybe is why it's so like right in my brain coming out of this. But yeah, man, if you've seen it, I'd love to know your thoughts. Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Feel free to join us in our Discord. We can talk about it there as well. Links to that in all my social description box below. But before you go, I want to shout out our channel legends. Manny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yori Corey Scott, Margaret Grace, Mary Bradley, Melita, Robert Anguiano, Cal Kestis Nation, and Raven McCann. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. That's it for this, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.